What is up, YouTube? It's your boy Alex here from Team Generations, and today we're here to take a look at a deck that I personally believe is super under the radar. We're here to take a look at Raizers. So just to give a general backdrop to Raizers and, why play Raizers now. Raizers previously were just kind of unplayable. You could not play them. They had really old support, kind of like a, beginning of V-Series kind of deck that they just kind of revived. If you like Kamui and whatnot, you know that he does play these kind of, this archetype, I guess. So aside from like the nostalgia factor, this really was a very bad deck. But now with this new waves of support, plus all the support that Nova Grappler kind of has gotten generically throughout the years, I think that in V-Series, this is actually a very good deck. I think it's borderline tier 1.5 actually. This is actually like a really decent mid-range deck. You can't approach it as like, I'm going to go full aggro all the time. If you take your time, generate your resources in the way that this deck kind of allows you to do, I think that you can play a really good mid-range game, set that tempo, and really take games off of your opponents. You have to be a smart player, I believe, to kind of pilot this deck, but overall, I'm really happy with it and happy with the support that we did receive out of the past clan selection. So thank you guys so much for tuning in. Let's get started. I'm going to start off with a little clan overview just to show you guys some other options within Nova Grappler if you are interested, and then hop right into the deck profile. All right, before we begin, I just wanted to quickly mention that if you are interested in purchasing any of the cards that you see here today, we do have a TCG player affiliate link down in the description below. You can shop through that, absolutely no cost to you, help support the channel. And if you are enjoying the content, make sure to hit that thumbs up button, possibly subscribe to the channel. But without further ado, let's hop right in. So we are starting off. I'm going to go over this guy over here. This is going to be Victor, Extreme Battler Victor. The Extreme Battler archetype kind of revolves around just restanding one of your rear guards and then gaining different benefits based on that. So there's one particular rear guard you want to swing with, restand based on various different effects. There is very generic support in here that definitely helps support it. So if you build this clan or this archetype, you can kind of transfer it over to other archetypes that we're going to go over in just a minute. But triple drive on the Vanguard is pretty strong, guaranteed restand at least once pretty much on one of your rear guards, and if you get it to 3, you get a ton of benefits off of that. So overall, that is kind of what this does. Triple drive Van, restanding one particular rear guard, gaining benefits. The next clan over here, the next archetype over here is going to be Blau. So Blau is probably my favorite, I would say, out of all the Nova Grappler decks that I do have. Blau is really high flying, just multi-attack, consistent power buff 10k to like your entire like Blau kind of engine, which is really cool. I think that it is super consistent. I think that it also is really good for generating multiple Excel markers and just getting off so many attacks. Like you can really smother your opponent. So I really like this. I do have a deck profile on this. I haven't changed it too much. Probably would add in Heal Guardians at this point, but if you want to check that out, I'll link all my other deck profiles down below. I also have a Victor one too, but let's hop right into the next one. So heroes I haven't played in quite some time. This is like a really interesting one. You basically want to save all of your counterblasts for this guy's swing. He just essentially gets an extra 10k, and on top of that, you have to call like 3 or more, 2 Guardian Circles. So there are other cards that kind of help support this guy, but overall this is kind of like a, at the moment you don't really want to play this archetype kind of deal. Lastly, we have over here Ethics Buster. So this is going to be for Beast Deity. Beast Deity actually was pretty good. It had the Azure Dragon for a while back then, but overall it's really just about restanding rear guards. With this card over here, if you choose to go the Ethic Buster route, you can restand your Vanguard, which is pretty cool. I would say this isn't really in a great spot at the moment, but it is getting new support out of the new clan collection 3 or 4, whichever one that is, and it might see a little bit more play. I don't think it's that great, but I have some other people telling me that it's really good from their playtesting, so who knows at this point, not I. So I don't really suggest building this one right now. If you want to pick up the core, it's super cheap just in case it does become good, but right now definitely Blau's and Victor I would say are the best, and we might actually have this profile coming soon. I don't have a copy of this card, I don't have this deck, but it is God Hand, and one of our teammates, they do play it quite often. God Hand's all about just ripping front triggers and turning that into an additional crit, as well as doubling the effect of that front trigger. So really just making it really hard for your opponent to guard, just smothering them with the power of, that front trigger doubling. So really decent deck. I think that it is kind of not slept on, but that's like a rogue deck where you can actually like maybe bring it if you high roll. You could take a lot of decks out. So I think that's definitely a cool deck overall. So we might have a deck profile for that coming up pretty soon. Shouts out to Gary for that. But yeah, let's hop right into the main deck profile, show you guys how I am running it. All right, so let's hop right into it over here, grade 3s. We're going to start off with the boss unit itself. Of course, we're talking about Ultimate Razor Mega Flare. So Mega Flare skill, at the end of the battle at your rear guard with Razor in its card name attacked, you can CB2, rest this unit, and stand that unit as well as this unit. So basically what you're doing is swinging with your rear guard, CB2, rest this guy, and then stand both this guy and your rear guard. the way they're wording it is that so that you're not swinging with your Vanguard first and then proccing that rear guard's attack to activate that skill. I get it. I think the deck would be too broken if you did 2 grade 3 kind of Vanguard swings. It's just a little bit too much overall. Also, the CB2 reads really heavy, but we do have a countercharger in here, and so long as I think you have like 2 counterblasts open for the turn to begin with, I think you're going to be fine. It's really not too hard to manage these resources, and so long as you get into kind of the groove of playing this deck, it's pretty easy overall. And its second skill is really interesting. At the end of battle that it attacked, if you have no standing rear guards in the front row, you can CB1, choose a grade 2 with Razor in its card name from your soul and ride it as stand, and then at the end of the turn, or end of the turn, basically, you re-ride this guy from your soul and generate another Excel marker. So that's really cool because there's no restriction like there is in Vanquish here. So you're getting a lot of hand size, opening the field up a little bit more for yourself for next turn to just come in with these big, powerful units, possibly restand them, which is really nice. So I think this is good. You get a Vanguard attack, you get to at least, stand in one other rear guard. On top of that, the grade 2 that you ride from soul, I know you're probably thinking, hey, why would I ever ride a grade 2 from soul? I'm not going to be able to hit with it. It's just a, potential one to pass, but there is on hit pressure if they did not hit a trigger with that grade 2 skill, which we'll be going over in just a little bit. So in summary, restanding a rear guard, or re-riding another Vanguard, generating another Excel marker at the end of turn. This generates a lot of resources. I think that's something that people kind of overlook. They think, oh, it's just Nova Grappler, I'm just going to stand and poke at you with a wet noodle a couple times. That's really not it. This is really a ramp deck that looks to close out on the second grade 3 turn. You can blitz out your opponent like every other kind of Nova Grappler deck if you have the right cards, but overall I think that this is, the longer the game goes on, it's almost better for this deck, and the way I built it, I think you're going to kind of see that too. So let's move right along with another grade 3. So all the grade 3s from here on out are support units. This is Ultra Beast Deity Luminal Dragon. So Luminal Dragon is actually really decent for this deck. We're really not using it for the Vanguard skill. If you need to use it, it's fine, but if you misride, whatever it is, it does have that Excel circle still. And its second skill, though, this is the real one, Vanguard or rear guard circle. Once per turn, when your other unit's attack hits, this unit gets an additional 15k until the end of turn. So when you think about it, Nova Grappler just spams attacks over and over. That's really what this clan is about. It's probably along the line somewhere, they're gonna let you hit with something. So this guy gets that extra 15k, it can become 27k. So even if you are, facing a force opponent, it could at least threaten to hit over at least one trigger. And then if you're boosting it with Arashad, that could be a 40k, which is, at least a 15k guard from hand either way, either force or Excel. But I think this natural kind of gain is really important because when we're swinging with Mega Flare, everything else in our front row should already be rested. So we should be getting power naturally through our own abilities, and we're not relying pretty much on our triggers to do that. So as a result, I really like this guy. I think I am running him at a 4 of. It's just a really solid support card overall, and when you play the deck, you'll see you'll just feel that you need these kind of cards in the deck. Moving right along that same line of thought, I'm pretty much putting him in here. Almost does the same thing. So this is going to be Maximum Razor. So Maximum Razor kind of is like the target you want to go for when you swing, restand it with the Vanguard, with Mega Flare. But overall, you could restand whatever you want, whatever you have on the field. But auto on Van or rear guard circle when it attacks a Vanguard while not boosted, this guy gets an additional 10k until the end of that battle. So this is really nice because you can put this on an Excel 2 circle and then become pretty much the same number as the Luminal Dragon. Again, it just makes it a little bit harder overall to guard. And if you are facing an Excel deck, this is actually big because it's more than a 15k to guard. If they're at 12k base, 27k, boom, on that Excel 2, it's more than a 15k to guard, which is pretty big in my opinion. So I really like this. It shares that Razor name too, so just helps synergize with that. Definitely need these like big kind of, I get big on my own kind of units in this deck, absolutely. Moving into the grade 2s, let's start off with the main grade 2 over here, one that I was kind of referencing before. This is going to be Ultimate Razor Dual Flare. So Dual Flare is really interesting. Its skill continues on Van or rear guard circle during your turn. If you have no standing front row rear guard units, this guy gets 3k for each one of your opponent's Vanguard's grade. Its second skill, at the end of battle, this attacked cost, put this unit into your soul. Choose one of your Vanguards, it gets 5k until the end of turn, and if you have no face-up cards in your damage zone, counter charge 1. So this is big for 2 reasons. When we reride this from soul, you're going to at least threaten to hit, whether it's a 13k Vanguard or not. So when you look at it, 9 plus, 3? So 9 plus 9 is 18, so it's at least more than a 5k guard from hand. to make it like, you know, it can't just be like a 1 to pass with a 5k guard. So that's pretty cool. If they did hit a defensive trigger, it is what it is. You know, you're trying to get over that. This only has a single drive, but there is some cheeky tech we are running in here to kind of help this guy out. I'll get over to that in a little bit. But the second skill is really big too, because again, a lot of times you don't want to boost your Vanguard. You don't want to waste like, you know, your boosters on that kind of stuff. So that 5k really does help, because, you know, you're at a 13k base Vanguard. You know, you're facing a Force Clan. That 5k just puts you over again, so, you know, at least threatens for a hit without being boosted, which is cool. So I like it. I think it's a decent card overall. And again, you get that counter charge, so if you have 2 open for the turn, you burn it for that Mega Flare first skill. You basically swing with this guy then, and then when it attacks, put it into soul, counter charge one, so you have the counter blast available for Mega Flare's second skill. So they synergize really, really well together. I think this is a great card. Moving right along, and we're going to get to like a generic support over here. This is really for the entire clan for Nova Grappler. This is going to be Cool Hank. This guy was reprinted, thankfully. It actually was like a really decent card overall, so I'm definitely glad that they reprinted it. It's auto skill on Vanguard Circle. When this unit's attack hits, cost Soul Blast 1 and draw a card. So just on hit pressure is actually pretty nice in this clan. And its second skill, the main reason we really use it, auto on Rearguard Circle. Once per turn, when this unit attacks, discard a card from your hand and stand one of your other rearguards. So just generic restanding. So you swing, boom, do your thing with this guy, restand it, swing again that other rearguard, boom, restand it with your Vanguard. It's just a lot of restanding on these powerful rearguards, which is nice, you know. It's just, that's what Nova Grappler is really all about. It's just beating the brakes off your opponent, punching them out, kind of poke as much as you can. Cool Hank definitely helps us get there. I think that this is good too, because it does not use a counter charge. You could go the route of, you know, using oh god, Kick Typhoon or something like that, but those use counter blast, and we don't really have that resource available in abundance, obviously, because of Mega Flare's skill. Moving on to our last grade 2 over here. This is kind of the weakest aspect of the deck. I feel like if we had one more wave of support where we replace this, it would be pretty decent, but this is going to be 4 still of high-powered Razor custom. So an oldie but goldie over here. I don't know how gold it is, but it's auto skill, Van or Rearguard Circle. When placed, you may call Battle Razor from your soul to a Rearguard Circle in the same column as this unit. So this is cool because that's just the Forerunner, or the, you know, the starter. You just pop him out, come behind this guy. So it helps you hit those numbers. Again, at least threatening for a hit if need be. And its second skill, when it attacks a Vanguard, counterblast 1, put a Battle Razor from your rearguard into your soul and stand one of your other rearguards. So it doesn't have to be a Razor that you're restanding, which is pretty cool. So you could be swinging with that Illuminal Dragon. On top of that, it does use that counterblast, but again, just that generic restand is really good. And if need be, at least we can reride this and then generate that second Excel marker with the Mega Flare skill, because it does have that Razor name. So I feel like you really need it as a target in this deck. To run just 4 is just not enough, even with the skill to put itself into soul on the dual flare. So I still like this. I think it is still necessary for the moment. Maybe if we get like one more wave of support, I would definitely cut this guy, but yeah, it is what it is as of right now. That is probably the weakest part of the deck, in my opinion. Moving right along into our grade 1s over here now, we are going to be looking at 4 of, I really don't know how to say this, what is this, Laputria Razor? I think something like that. It's actually a pretty decent card. When this unit is placed on Vanguard Circle, we get to choose a Battle Razor from our soul. So again, the Forerunner, just pop it out to a Rearguard Circle. So if you are going second, you can go for a really greedy play here by popping this guy down, popping the Battle Razor to a Rearguard Circle, and then swinging. If you like a front or a trigger, whatever the case is, you can put it on there, just threatening for another hit, or you can boost this guy to make it just a sweeter number overall. But yeah, that's really the logic behind it, I suppose. And then its second skill is the real reason you really want to use it. Act on Rearguard Circle. Once per turn, counterblast 1, put a Rearguard into your soul, search your deck for up to 1 card with Razor in its card name and grade equal to the card to put into your soul for this cost, essentially +1, and then shuffle your deck. So you can sit there and, you know, you can put the Razor on a Rearguard Circle, you can put that back into soul and search for a grade 1 if you really want. If you need another, you can then search for you know, a grade 2 if you put the grade 1 in, and really fix your soul, make sure that you have that dual flare so you can ride into that from the Mega Flare turn. So this guy just really helps fix it. Again, it is a counterblast, so that kind of sucks, but overall, like I said, just manage your resources, make sure that you're kind of keeping track of this stuff. If you don't have to use that skill, all the better. But in case we do need to use it, it definitely helps fix our ride target. So I like this card. I'm definitely maxing it out at a 4 of. Next up over here, just talking about consistency, we're going to be running 4 of Extreme Battler Ourshed. So again, this is the grade 1 searcher. Every client has them. This guy's condition to hit that extra 5k is if your unit was stood by a card's ability this turn, this guy gets 5k. So a little bit harder to do in the early turns, but pretty easy to do once you hit grade 3. On top of that, just to explain for people who don't know, the grade 3 searchers, when placed from hand on Van or Rearguard circle, look at the top 5 of your deck, add a grade 3 to hand, and if you added a grade 3 to hand, you get to ditch a card from your hand. So this is important because we rely so heavily on the grade 3s in this deck, like even the support units, that we need to be finding them and digging them. So I really need to be running this at a 4 of. I just think that consistency is so necessary. And then we are kind of lean on the grade 1s in this deck. I'm really just running 8 of them. So mulligan kind of aggressively in the beginning. If you don't find one, it's very unfortunate. But I feel like once you do find that, like the whole pace of the game, it's fine from there on out. You know, you never misride. On grade 2, really, it's hard to do that on grade 3 as well. So moving right along then, we are looking at 1 of this card. This is actually really interesting. This got reprinted too. So this is going to be Cat Butler. So it's skill auto on Rearguard circle. At the end of the battle, your Vanguard's attack did not hit. Cost Soul Blast 1, retire this unit. Choose one of your units and it gets an additional 3k until the end of turn. And if that's a grade 2 or less Vanguard, restand that unit. So again, we get to swing with our Vanguard. And the nice thing is too, like let's say they made it, you know, no pass off of, you know, your first grade 2 swing on that Mega Flare's turn. You know, you put the trigger on it, boom, pop off Cat Butler, and then, you know, maybe it just makes it a little bit more difficult. That one extra attack with the threat of possibly having another trigger might deplete them from hand, may rob them of a unit they needed to use, whatever the case is. I think this is too good not to run in the deck, so I'm running it just at that 1 of, and obviously too, I think we mentioned, I am running 1 Battle Razor as well. So cool, let's hop right into the triggers. I'm just going to pan out a little bit. So the triggers over here are very interesting, and after playtesting, this is kind of where I arrived at. I know it seems weird, but I am going to be running 4 draw PGs. That's not the weird part. This is over here, just 4 additional draw. I think this is definitely a deck you need to have a lot more resources in. There are certain things that discard from hand. There are certain times you're going to pop things down from hand just to put into soul to kind of fix and get that grade 2 ride target. Whatever the case is, I feel like this just insulates our deck a little bit more. And we're not concerned with hitting triggers for the entire front row, because our front row, by the time our Vanguard swings, is already going to, like, they've already attacked. So you're just really worried about power on your Vanguard, and then your Vanguard itself, like, you know, if they PG to Vanguard, you hit a draw trigger, at least you're getting a card to hand, because you're going to be re-riding from soul, so you're not going to inherit that benefit later on, whereas this guy kind of leaves us with a lingering benefit in a way, and I think the deck just plays a lot better with it. I am still running 4 fronts in here, but just because it is Nova Grappler, sometimes if we do misride, you need to give a little bit more power to the whole entire field just to not have like a dud kind of turn. I think these really do come in handy over here, the fronts. So still running 4. You can swap these for crits, completely up to you. You can do a 2-2 split also, keep it dangerous. I personally like the fronts just a little bit more, but totally do whatever you feel comfortable there. And yeah, no surprise here. We are running the grade 3 heal sentinels, or the heal sentinels, I guess that's what you call them. But being able to slow down and limit our damage intake a little bit earlier definitely helps this deck survive out later. Like I said, you need 2 counterblasts. Don't go past that really. If you need to fix your ride, like I said, you can go past that if there's certain things you need to do. But again, you can get that counter charge. You can get off a full turn, essentially, a nice powerful turn with just 2 counterblasts. So I like this guy. It definitely helps keep us where we want to be early game. So yeah, cool. Let's hop into a test and I'll show you guys how the deck kind of plays out and just some of the combos that I was talking about. All right, let's shuffle up over here and get started with that test hand. Overall, I think this is a decent deck. I think that it really, if you play that mid-range kind of control tempo kind of deal, it just naturally gains aggression without you spending a lot of resources. So I think you really can outpace a lot of opponents. You can just make sure that you're setting the tempo, you're, you know, being aggressive, but at the same time, not overextending. And I think this deck does a great job at doing that. So I like this deck in V. I think it definitely is solid. For the price point, like, it's a crazy value. I think that this is probably all in. You're probably looking at around, I want to say $35, somewhere like that for this deck. So it really is not bad at all. Like, it's really, really affordable. So let's draw over here. 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. So we have a terrible hand. We do get the grade 3 in 2, but we don't want to hang on to that. No, I need to search a little deeper for the grade 1. So I'm going to do that. 2, 3. All right, so this is actually pretty good. We don't have a lot of defense in our hands, but we did draw into some key pieces for our grade 3 turn. So let's stick with that. All right. we are next up going to stand and draw. We're gonna pretend we go first, like we do in all of our test stand videos. Nice, we do actually get that, so I think we'll be in a good spot. But I am gonna ride this guy over here. I'm gonna draw. I don't get a quick shield because I'm going first. I'm gonna pop out my Blau Razor to the main center column just because I'm not going second here, so there's no point to kind of do that aggressive play. I mentioned before, gonna pass it over to our opponent, take a damage, boom, heal trigger. Don't heal, but we do get the power. Let's assume that shuts everything else off. We're going to stand and draw now for our turn. So let's peep at our hands. Yep, we're gonna go into the dual flare right there. All right, and what else? Let's pop down an arrow shot over here. Kind of like this play because it helps set us up. Hopefully there's a grade 3 on top here. Nope, nothing over there. That's all right. Just helps us overall because if our arrow shot does kind of proc something, let's say, defensive trigger for them, so they're going to be 18. I'm still going to threaten for a hit on 18, which is fine here. So let's break that down. So let's swing with arrow shot. Let's say they hit a defensive trigger. Their 8K just went up to 18. My guy gets an additional 3K for every grade of my opponent. So 3K, on this guy makes it 12, 12 plus 6. That is then 18, so we're at least threatening still for a hit, so I'm not afraid to poke first with this guy. So let's drive check, front trigger, so let's say, even if they did guard, still get over it. It's not a crit, but at the same time, it's just good to get through that, so we're at 1 damage here. Let's pass it over to our opponent now. We kind of want to keep it at 2. Let's see, boom, draw trigger, let's power draw. All right, cool. And let's just drop a heal guardian, because I don't think, I don't have that other grade 2. I don't think there's anything else I really need to do, yeah. Actually, I don't have the counter charge grade 2. You know what? I'll take one more. Boom. Okay, power draw. Let's say they just crit me, and then I just drew twice off that. Okay, cool. So let's stand and draw for my turn. Like, if you had one of these in hand, I definitely would have stayed at 2, but since I didn't have it, no big deal. All right, let's see over here. I am, of course, going to go into Mega Flare. The nice thing with Mega Flare, too, is not restricted by your opponent being on grade 3, so you can really pop off first turn, which is nice. So let's move these back just a pinch so I can fit an Excel circle over here. All right, just draw off of the Excel circle. We did get that grade 2. That's pretty nice. Yeah, I don't think we're really going to use it for that skill, but that's okay. So I'm going to move this guy back. I'm going to call... If this was a force deck, I'd probably call it here, just to make it, so it's 27 plus that 5K right there would make it 32, just make it a little awkward. But we are going first, it doesn't really matter. I'm going to call down my laser over here. Let's see, what else do I want to do? I want to go, you know what, I'm going to put the Cat Butler down right here. I'm going to, yeah, I'm still going to call this guy. Okay, yeah. Let's just call him down here. Yeah, and let's hang on to everything else because we are going to use this to just basically swing again at our opponent. So let's swing here. Unfortunately, I don't have like a cool Hank. That would be like the ideal guy to have right there, but that's fine. At the end of battle, I'm going to CB2. 2 down. I'm going to rest this guy, restand him as well as him. That's fine, so he's going to be 27 again. Let's say this one hits, so this gets the 15K here. A rear guard restood, so that's a pretty good column. But let's go into the 9 plus 5 right here. It's at the end of the battle boosted though. Now it just did not hit. Okay, cool. So this is 14. Assume they didn't hit a trigger. Still threatens for something at least. Next up, this is going to be 27 plus 13. So there's going to be a 40K column by itself, which is really, really sweet. This gets over, like, if they hit a trigger, boom, big deal. Like, you still have to drop a pretty big number from hand. Let's then everything else in the front row. Yeah, we're good. So let's swing here. I am going to, I'm going to pretend I don't boost. Yeah, let's not boost here. So let's go first check, power draw. Again, we wouldn't have seen any other benefit on any other trigger. Second check, okay. Except for maybe a heal trigger, of course, but crits, fronts, if they PG'd that, means nothing to us there. I'm going to use the skill now. I'm going to counterblast one. I'm going to ride that guy from soul. Let's get this guy out over here, and then we are going to swing. So now they're on grade 2, so this is 9K plus 6. This is 15. This is going to be 21. I'm going to boost it. Let's drive check. Boom, nothing. But I am going to use this. Let's say they guarded that. I'm going to soul blast one. Retire this unit, right? Yep, retire this unit. And then, where's my drop zone? Let's put it over here. And then I am going to restand him and swing again. So that's, again, just 15K, but still, you're getting a drive check out of that, which is not too bad. So deck thinning is deck winning. And then at the end of turn, let's ride back into the Mega Flare, and let's get another Excel marker over here, and let's draw off of that. So just take a look with the draws in this deck. Like, my hand is huge. I know we're just doing a little test hand, but I just generated a whole lot off of that turn. I'm most definitely going to survive next turn. I'm going to have big units down on board next turn, and just my consistency is decent. I can intercept with that, you know. I think this game definitely go our way if I had to guess, but overall, that's kind of the idea of the deck. Just keep doing something like that over turn in, turn out. And this is, again, not restricted by like your opponent being on grade 3, which makes it so aggressive if you go first. And you know, you don't have to expend a lot to get a lot out of this deck. So thank you guys so much for watching. If you guys have any questions, let me know down below. Again, if you enjoyed the content, make sure to hit that like button and subscribe to the channel. Definitely appreciate it. Thank you again. This is Alex from Team Generation signing out.